Hey YouTube, welcome back to Dwayne's World. So did you have spring dead spot like I did last year? Well, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen again. You want to find out what I'm doing? You better stay tuned. All right guys, just want to give you a quick update on the way the backyard is currently looking. You know, my last mow with the Greensmaster 1000, it's nice to see that stripe action is still hanging on. Just like the green is trying to hang on for as long as it can here. My estimation is that we probably only have about 2 more weeks before we ultimately go completely dormant. All right, so one of the things I want to do is I really want to set myself up for success as we go into spring next year. Now you may be wondering, well, Dwayne, how are you going to do that? Well, one of the things that was most detrimental to me, especially in my front lawn, was spring dead spot. So I have to make sure I apply a fungicide because that's one of the things that you want to do in the fall season to prevent spring dead spot next year. Now when spring dead spot hits, there's no going back to fix it at that point. Meaning you have to either plug the area or just wait. Time is generally the only thing that will cure spring dead spot. But in my particular case, in my particular lawn, most of the areas that I had it, even a full growing season, it wouldn't come back. It may come back next year, hopefully it does. So last month I did one of 2 treatments, meaning it was my first treatment of fall, and I went with Propiconazoles 14.3. Now it's a good preventative fungicide. However, after doing more research, the better fungicide to go with to prevent spring dead spot is Azoxystrobin. Now, I could have went out and bought a variety of different types of product that have Azoxystrobin in it. However, you know, Amazon, which I shop a lot on, had their Prime days, and they were selling Scotts DiseaseEX at a very, very good price. So I went ahead and grabbed 2 bags of that. You know, the active ingredient of that is Azoxystrobin. So I'm going to be applying that to my lawn today. And I think that will be a nice balance this year with my treatment. It's going to prevent spring dead spot next year. But I won't know till spring. So I'll have to wait and find out. And if it does, and if it hits again, I'll deal with it then. I'll figure it out, as I always do. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and throw down the Scotts DiseaseEX. All right, so this will be using the Scotts DiseaseEX. Now, if you guys can see there, I have 2 bags. Each bag covers 5,000 square feet at a preventative rate. Now, if you're ever using the Scotts DiseaseEX to cure fungus in your lawn, you need to double the rate. So if I, for example, was using 1 bag at a cure rate, it would only cover 2,500 square feet. But at the preventative rate, it will cover 5,000. So I'll need for my application about 1.5 bags. I'm gonna go ahead and load in the hopper. All right, so some of you might be wondering, Dwayne, why are you using the Scotts spreader? Don't you have an Anderson spreader that you really like? I do. However, the reason why I decided to go with the Scotts spreader today versus using the Andersons is simply because of the EdgeGuard. My Andersons does not have an EdgeGuard, and at the same time, I always like to use all of my equipment that I have. So all right, so I already got 1 bag loaded in the hopper. I'm not gonna kind of just estimate the second bag, to be honest with you. I'm not going to go ahead and measure out 5 pounds. If it's a little over, a little under, that's okay. I don't need too much more of this for my front lawn. I'm only going to need about a couple pounds, if that, for my front yard. So I'll have more than enough. So if I go a little bit heavy, I'm not worried about it. So with that, let's go ahead and throw it down. All right, so the DiseaseEX calls for the setting on the Scotts spreader to be a 2.25. So that's what I went ahead and set it to. Again, that is the preventative rate. All right, guys, so let me give you an example of the spring dead spot. So as you can see there, this was an area that just never filled in. Now it got smaller, and it looks like some of the runners would have eventually filled in. However, it just never came back, and that took an entire growing season to get to that point. Let me give you one other example. As you can see here, this is another area of spring dead spot. So these are just two different areas that I showed you guys on my lawn. You know, there might have been a third or a fourth here on my backyard that kind of looks similar to this. My front lawn, though, as I've shown in previous videos, really took the hit hard. So hopefully, with my treatment today of the Scotts DiseaseEX, it will definitely help prevent that. All right, so I just want to give you guys a quick update now on the way the front lawn looks. And as you can see, it is starting to turn green. We are getting a lot of germination, which is the way it should have been from the beginning. Now, as you can kind of tell underneath the tree there, I'm gonna need to go back and, you know, touch up those areas, and that's why you have extra seed. You want to be able to do that. You know, I think even in fairness, the camera does not do it justice as far as the amount of germination. Only some of it's actually coming through here on the camera. But I would say within the next week or so, we absolutely should be mowing. All right, and with that, I'm gonna throw down the fungicide. All right, so what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna use my hand spreader to throw down the fungicide treatment. And the only reason why I'm doing that is because, again, it's not a big lawn, but I also want to stay off of it as much as I can. So I'm gonna really try to hit the borders and only take a couple footsteps in to see if I can get good coverage throughout. So with that, let's go ahead and throw it down. All right, so all that's left now is to go ahead and water it in. You know, it's important with any liquid or granular fungicide to ensure that you do give it a good watering to get it down into the soil. One of the things I do like about the Scotts DiseaseEX actually is the fact that it's a really small pearl size. So that works out really well when it comes to Bermuda. As we all know, Bermuda has a really thick canopy. And with that being said, you know, you want to make sure that that pearl is small enough to be able to get down into the soil, and the water is going to be able to do that and take it that much further. All right, so if you haven't got your fungicide down just yet this fall, get it down now. You still have an opportunity to be able to prevent spring dead spot from showing up next year. Again, it's a problem you do not want to be dealing with next spring. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It was definitely a lot of fun as always being able to put it together for you. You know, please make sure you do subscribe to my channel because I do have a lot more things lined up for the front yard there. You know, now that I got germination coming up, it's very exciting, and I can't wait for what this fall season is going to look like on my front lawn. And with that, be excellent and party on.